Dear love judges, this is my story. The rain poured heavily that evening, streaking the windows of the quiet cafe where I sat, lost in thought. I never imagined I'd be nursing a shattered heart here, recollecting the painful end of my relationship with Mark. It was still fresh, the betrayal, the lies, the hollow promises. I had sworn never to trust a man again. Yet life has a strange way of surprising us. That very evening I met Eric. It was at a charity gala hosted by a mutual friend. I had no intention of attending, but the persistence from Anita, my closest friend, had finally worn me down. She thought getting out of the house would do me some good, help me heal. I doubted it. Then Eric approached me. Charming, articulate, disarmingly handsome. He introduced himself with a warm smile that almost felt like sunshine piercing through the storm cloud that had been my life lately. He told me he worked with a multinational oil company based in Delta State, Nigeria. An impressive and prestigious career. We exchanged contacts and I thought nothing of it, merely polite conversation. But Eric was persistent. He called the next day and the day after that. His words were always kind, his tone soothing. I found myself slowly opening up, despite my initial reservations. Weeks turned into months and he was always there, sending thoughtful messages, remembering the little details about me, showing up at events just to see me. I was cautious, but eventually my walls crumbled. He had won my heart. As the months rolled by, Eric began to show his character. The first request for money came subtly. Eric told me he had a small issue with a project at work and needed some emergency cash flow. He promised it was just temporary and would pay me back within a month. His story sounded genuine. I wired him the money. The second time it was a family emergency. His mother had taken ill, and he needed to fly her to a better hospital for treatment, but his bank apps were not responding all of a sudden. Again he promised repayment and I believed him and sent the money, even going beyond the amount he asked. The amounts grew larger. He spoke of investment opportunities he was trying to secure and financial hurdles that required quick cash injections. I was earning well from my consulting job, so I helped. After all, he was someone I cared deeply for. I trusted him. But something was off. I noticed he avoided discussions about visiting Delta State when I suggested coming along for a vacation. He was often evasive when I asked about his work projects, providing vague answers. I brushed it off, unwilling to let doubt ruin what we had. Until the call came from Anita. She called one evening, her voice trembling with urgency. "Sarah, you need to check Facebook. Now." I opened the link she sent. My heart stopped. There he was, Eric, dressed in a sharp blue suit, standing beside a woman in a flowing white gown. Wedding photos. Recently shared publicly. My hands shook. My mind refused to process what I was seeing. How could this be? We had spoken just 2 days ago about his supposed business trip. I confronted him immediately. He denied it at first, claiming it was a cousin's wedding and someone had edited his photos. But the evidence piled up. Guest had tagged him. The woman was identified as his wife. My Eric was married. I was devastated, but soon my grief turned to anger. The betrayal was too deep to ignore. I reviewed our messages, the bank transfers, the receipts. I realized the truth. Eric had been deceiving me all along. The sums he had taken added up to millions of naira. I sought advice. Anita encouraged me to take legal action. I reported the matter to the authorities, submitting all the evidence. Screenshots of our conversations, bank statements, and even his wedding photos. The investigation was slow, but I was determined. I wanted justice. Not just for myself, but for any other woman he might be targeting. It took months, but eventually Eric was arrested. The authorities discovered a pattern. Multiple women he had conned with the same elaborate lies. He was charged with fraud and deception. Dear love judges, Eric's family have endlessly begged me to forgive him and drop the charges. What should I do?